In today's show, we're looking back at the 7 games from Tuesday in the NBA. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. At only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the Ultra Player of the Week coming up later in the episode. All right. Before we get into the games from Tuesday, just news, the confirmation Jamal Murray is out for the season with a torn ACL. That's obviously shit news. And, the beginning to his next season is probably going to be impacted too. I don't know if they're going to start Facu. I don't know if they're going to start Monty Morris in that position. Facu's ability to generate steals makes him pretty useful as a fantasy player. So if you're looking for steals and threes, Campazzo can do that with some assists. Morris can be useful. Look, if they play even minutes, it probably is. I thought initially, look, okay, this is how I thought it was. Off the top of my head, what I thought was that we'd see more minutes from Monty Morris, right? And he'd be the guy that would push into that larger role. But if they do play equal minutes, I think Facu is a better per minute player. But that's the conundrum, isn't it? Is it, do they play equal minutes? Or is it 20 minutes for Facu and 29 minutes for Morris? Because if it's that way, then you want Monty Morris. But if it's 26 apiece, you want Facu. I don't hate adding either guy in 12-team leagues. It is a bit of a coin toss. Now, Facu had been starting the last few games without Murray as Morris returned from injury. I don't think that I'd want to put all my trust in Campazzo to be my starting point guard. I think Morris has been in the system longer, and I feel like he's a bit more trustworthy at NBA level. So that's why I'd lean towards him getting more minutes, but that's up in the air. So I think both guys can be taken flyers on. Personally, I still probably would take Monty because over the course of the next 4 weeks, I imagine that he pushes to a 30-minute role and Facu pushes back to a 22, but it might not work that way. I am really conflicted about how that's going to all go down, and I don't know what the best option is. To me, look, it is literally just a bit of a coin toss, but if I do think they're playing the same minutes, then Facu's going to be the guy. It's just, is he going to play the same minutes? That's the big question, I guess. Let's look now at the games from Tuesday. Let's start off with an absolute ass-kicking, an early one. It's always interesting when you go to sleep, and I said this on an earlier show today, and you wake up, and there's an NBA game playing, and you go, what's going on? Why is this game on? This wasn't supposed to happen. I thought it would be rescheduled for today, but I didn't know it had happened, and then it'd just be going by the time I woke up. But there you go. The Nets, 127. The Timberwolves, 97. Big win there. Durant only played 27 minutes, had 31 points with 4 triples. His return has been amazing, even from this injury in limited minutes. He's the 18th ranked player in 23 minutes since coming back from his hamstring injury. That's really amazing. Joe Harris had 23 points with 5 triples. And the Shark, Bruce Brown. Baby Shark, do-do-do-do-do. He had just the 9 points on 27% shooting, which is obviously horrendous, but 12 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. And with Kyrie, we don't know when he's back. Harden's out for a long time. Durant could rest tomorrow. There's some streamability here in Bruce Brown. Nick Claxton got his first NBA start and played exactly 1 second more than DeAndre Jordan. 21 minutes apiece for those guys. 6 and 8 for Claxo with a steal and a block, while Jordan had 13 and 7 with a block on 100% shooting. I hope this doesn't mean that Jordan finds his way back into the rotation. Claxton was a plus 21, by the way. Jordan was a plus 7. But there is an opportunity for Claxton again to be interesting for Wednesday with all the potential absences there, but I don't think this really changes much long term. Landry Shamet was also good, 19 points with 5 threes in his 26 minutes. Last couple of games from Shamo have been okay, but I wouldn't be out rushing to grab him or anything like that. Jeffy Green had 7 points in 19 minutes. For the Wolves, Karl Anthony Towns sat this one out, so again, rotations all over the place, and it was such a blowout. It's really hard to judge what's going on. We had Naz Reid starting. He played 17 minutes and had foul trouble, so he had 2 points on 14% shooting. The 2 blocks are nice, but it is hard to grasp too much of this game just because it was all over the place. Jaden McDaniels only 24 minutes. Now, McDaniels' recent numbers have been pretty poor. He had 5 points. He didn't block a shot. He only played those 24 minutes, as I said, had some fouls, and then it was a blowout, and he was terrible, minus 26. I would hold him, probably, but I think switching him for his brother is totally fine. Anthony Edwards, just really bad, I thought, in this game. Look, he had 27 points, which is great volume, but minus 39, a true shooting of under 50 on a usage of 35. He still had a steal and a block. He had 8 rebounds, so some okay fantasy stats, but some really negative impact stuff there from Edwards. But in the end, like, his numbers are really strong because he's just getting every shot in the world. Okogie played 18 minutes, had 4 steals, which is good. That's coming for him at the moment. He's getting some good defensive numbers, but I wouldn't want to trust that. While Rubio, just the 19 minutes. And D'Angelo Russell, just 20. He had 15 points. And I'm not sure if Russell plays tomorrow. There are a lot of question marks. I don't think we read too much into this rotation, let's say that. And yeah, the 19 minutes for Rubio doesn't make him a drop. The 24 for McDaniels doesn't necessarily make him a drop, although he could be. We had Jared Vanderbilt step up for 21 minutes, and Ed Davis played 10 minutes, they don't normally play. Now, Vanderbilt was good. 9 points, 4 rebounds, a steal, and 4 blocks. Does that put him back into the rotation, taking those 5-7 minutes that Juancho Hernan-Gomez gets each night? I don't know, but it's not going to be enough to be any sort of real impact situation, I don't believe. I'll tell you what is an impact situation, though, and that is Michelob Ultra, because it is now time for the Ultra Player of the Week. Who's the player this week that brought us joy and happiness? It is Steph Curry, your Michelob Ultra Player of the Week. Over the last week, Steph has averaged a cool 41 points per game, hitting 7.7 triples per game. 5 assists, 7 rebounds, shooting 54 from the field, 92 from the line, and an incredible 51% from 3. He's back up to 42% from 3 over the course of the season. He's the 3rd ranked fantasy player over the course of the year. Absolutely amazing season again from Steph, bringing that enjoyment to us. And with Michelob Ultra, it's only worth it if you enjoy it. With 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, joy creates success. So why wouldn't you get something that makes you happy? Why wouldn't you grab that Michelob Ultra, get that enjoyment, get that happiness going, and do it by also having Steph Curry on your fantasy team? Are you happy because you win, or do you win because you're happy? The Michelob Ultra Player of the Week is Steph Curry. Next game, let's take a look at it. The LA Clippers beat the Indiana Pacers 126-115. No Kawhi Leonard. Paul George is going off at the moment. The 6th-ranked player over the last 2 weeks. 57 fantasy points here, 36, 7, and 8 with 4 threes and 2 steals, absolutely on fire. And Nick Batum going crazy too. 28 minutes for Batum, 14 and 5, 2 threes, 1 steal, 5 blocks. Now, obviously, the 5 blocks aren't real. But he is the 91st ranked player over the last 2 weeks. He had been falling way off, and it is helpful for him that Leonard is out at the moment. If you want to take a flyer on Batum, for sure. I think he's still really low end, and he's more of that steals and blocks and assists streamer type. But with Kawhi dealing with the foot soreness, no problem with adding him. I think Marcus Morris is also a 12-team league guy. He cannot miss at the moment. Now, he's going to regress for sure. But 22 points with 3 threes. He's playing well. Zubats had 14 and 7. Nice back-end 12-team league guy. While Luke Kennard started for Kawhi. He didn't do too much. I don't think he's a rotation player when everyone's back and healthy. 10 points there, while Reggie Jackson had 6, 5, and 4 and 2 steals. A terrible night from Jackson on 14% shooting. I think he still is a 12-team league option. Rondo had 5 assists and 2 steals. He's like a assist and steal streamer in that Campazzo role, or the old Campazzo role. Well, Terrence Mann looked good again. 25 minutes for Mann. 12 points, 2 threes, 3 assists, 2 steals. Not really a 12-team league guy. I think he's more that 16-team league player, but yeah, his improvements this season have been super impressive. Now, for the Pacers, Karis LeVert, we know that he shot well last game, so he shot terribly here. But 26, 6, and 6 with 2 steals and 3 blocks are elite counting stats. That's 55 fantasy points, and he was also an awesome 85% from the line on 13 attempts. Now, 39% from the field is rough, but everything else looks great. Brogdon was also good, 29, 5, and 4, and Sabonis had 20 and 13. So they're big guns really producing, but after that, I don't know, man. Justin Holiday.
Get that garbage out of here!
8 points in 33 minutes. No point for him in a 12-teamer. Edmund Sumner had 7 points in 20 minutes. Goga Badadze struggled, missed all 4 of his shots and blocked just 1 of them. Dougie McDirt left the court after 10 minutes with an ankle sprain, never returned. Aaron Holiday had 7 points. TJ McConnell didn't get a single assist. He did get 2 steals, and he does remain a 12-team league guy, but we're seeing the minutes drop off a little bit from Tej, down to 23 a night. Just a pretty overall rough performance. Jeremy Lamb also another struggle night from him, 3 and 4 in his 14 minutes. He has, after that hot start return from his knee injury, he has struggled quite a bit in the coming or the ensuing months after that. Let's go to the next game. The Atlanta Hawks and the Toronto Raptors. The Hawks were without John Collins, Trae Young, Danilo Gallinari, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, Chris Dunn, Tony Snell, and they still win 108-103 because Bogdan Bogdanovic is carrying at the moment. 23 and 6 with 5 threes, 4 assists, and a steal. He's really good. He's showing that he's really good. His numbers are going to drop, but he's actually awesome. And Clint Capella, the Kerner, 19 and 21 in 35 minutes. Big numbers from Capella again, who will also drop off when Collins returns. Vanderpants, big opportunity for him with all those guys out, and he took it in this game. 17 points for Kevin Huerter with 3 threes and 4 assists. And Brandon Goodwin, another really good game. 18 points in 37 minutes, 3 threes, 3 assists, 2 steals. He's an excellent stream option while Young is out. Solomon Hill didn't do too much, 7 points. Okongwu had 7, and Lou Williams 9 points in 25 minutes off the bench. Lou Williams is not a 12-team league at all. He's not even close to a 12-team league player, I don't think. He's the 194th ranked player this year, yet still rostered in 40% of advanced leagues, which is just way too high. For the Raptors, let's talk about a few things here. Let's start with Malachi Flynn. 35 minutes, 22 points, 6 triples, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. That is an awesome line. But until about 5 minutes to go, his line was bad. He just went crazy at the end of the game. Now, you know that I think he's really good. And you know that I think he's going to become really good. But no Lowry or no Bembry in this game. That's a great line from Flynn. I think VanVleet's going to be out for a while. But that doesn't mean that I think that Flynn is going to be able to maintain top 120 value. Because when everyone is there, how does he get 30 minutes? The answer is it's literally impossible for him to do it. Trent, Lowry, VanVleet, Siakam, and Anunoby. They're all 35, 33 to 35 plus. Boucher, Birch, Hood, Bembry, Flynn. Like, where does he fit in there? For the short term, look, it was last game when Lowry played and Anunoby was out. He didn't do particularly well. This game, there was no Lowry or VanVleet. Next game, you'll have both guys in, I think. Or there is a chance that Anunoby rests, but I don't think so. But yeah, how is it all going to work? Stream, sure. I'm just not convinced that the long-term value is there. Siakam had a good bounce back, 30 and 6 with 7 assists and 2 blocks. While the center position, talked about the sell high, or the overperforming nature of Chris Boucher. And I said, don't be surprised if Kem Birch starts. Well, Boucher started, but Birch played 25 minutes and Boucher played 23 and a half. 4 points for Boucher, no blocks, 33% shooting, while Birch had 13 and 7 with 2 steals and a block. Now, I do not believe that Birch is a 12-team league must-add player at all. I'm not even sure that he's a 14-team league guy. This was a great performance from Birch, but I think there's a level of unsustainability about what he did there, especially the scoring and the 83% shooting. Like, that's probably not real. He's more of that. I love him in 16s, and I wouldn't mind him in 14. I don't think 12. Boucher we're still holding, but I wouldn't be shocked to see tomorrow Birch start over Boucher. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Gary Trent, honestly, is he got a new sound drop?
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
At least he had 2 steals, 7 points on 20% shooting. Didn't hit a 3, 4 rebounds and 2 assists. He's fine to have, but there is going to be wild inconsistency. Still hasn't cracked the top 150 this season. 158th ranked player so far. Rocket Rodney Hood had 8 points in 18 minutes, and Watanabe had 0 points in his 15 minutes. Freddie Gillespie out there providing some energy as well. But again, Lowry, Bembry, they're going to come back into the rotation. And then VanVleet maybe comes back. I don't know. And that is going to have an impact on Flynn. I am very, very interested to see what happens tomorrow. If Anunoby does play the back-to-back, and if Lowry is back after resting, what that means for Flynn's minutes. Yeah, let's see how all that goes down. But I am very, very curious to see how it looks. Next game, the Lakers beat the Hornets. Both teams pretty banged up. The Lakers 101, the Hornets 93. Markieff Morris joined the injury list for this one. Dennis Schroeder, he's putting up good numbers. If you do have a sell high ability, like that's going to drop off when Davis and LeBron return. But 19, 4 and 6 with 2 steals was good. Caruso also added 6 assists and 13 points. Nice night from him, but he's only a 14 to 16 team league guy at best. And Kuzma had 24 points in 34 minutes. But let's talk about Andre Drummond, who again was shithouse. He's had one game where he was good against the Nets. And he's like, yeah, we just got to try and work it in. Like, dude, you continue to have this horrendous field goal percentage. And it's been following you for a while. 29% for 4 points. He's an elite rebounder. He had 12 of them. He had 3 steals. He's good at that. But in a game that they won by, 8 points, he still was a -5 somehow. They didn't play Marc Gasol at all, which I think is negligent. Now, we still have to hold Drummond. But one game against the Nets doesn't prove how awesome he is. He just, again, real life, I do not think he's very good. And I'll continue to say that. Fantasy, you got to roster him. Montrezl Harrell, I don't think you have to roster. 6 and 5 in 24 minutes. Mate, he's losing out minutes to Drummond, and Gasol's not even playing when he should be. Taylor Horton-Tucker played 23 minutes in a start, 6 points, 4 assists and a steal. slid in when Markieff Morris was out. I don't think we need to. I don't think he's a 12-team league guy. Simple as that. I like him, but again, so many things have to happen for him to get a large role. They happened. He didn't get the large role. He sucked. He's still 161st over the last 2 weeks. He's had that really one big game, which was fantastic. But yeah, I'm not really sure or convinced that he is a guy that we should be wasting 12-team roster spots on at this point. The Hornets, no Rozier, no Washington, no Haywood, no Ball, no Monk. That's pretty rough. Caleb Martin stepped up, played 35 minutes, had 17, 10, and 5. Big game from Caleb. While Jalen McDaniels, I think he's a must-roster player. 16 and 8 in 40 minutes with 2 steals and 2 threes. It will end, but you got to roster him now. Devontae Graham started slow but ended hot. 19 points in 31 minutes with 6 assists, while Biyombo, the surprise starter. I don't know what the hell goes on here with Borrego. Yeah, Zala's playing these 28 minutes off the bench, and now there's someone out. So let's put Biyombo in and play him more minutes than Zala when we weren't even playing Biyombo before. 28 for Biyombo, 10 and 12. Zala had 5 and 3. Makes it really tough to get excited about Zala. While talked about overperforming players today, Miles Bridges, and then he went back and had 13 and 7, which is all right, but it's nowhere near the level he was at before. He does remain a 12-team league guy, while Brad Wanamaker got 23 minutes. He's getting a lot of minutes at the moment, Wanamaker. Unfortunately, he shot 9%. The 5 assists, the steal, and a block are nice. He's just that deeper league sort of player, while a bloke by the name of Nate Darling played and had 3 points in 6 minutes, and Cody Martin didn't do it. It wasn't a great night for the Codys. 6 points for Cody Martin, 5 points for Cody Zala. Guys, Built Bar, you know what it is. It's the best tasting protein bar ever. Why would you want to get one of those shitty tasting protein bars that tastes like you scraped it off the bottom of your shoe when you can have Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, covered in 100% chocolate and soft and easy to chew. Great flavors, fantastic taste, and it's great if you're a health-conscious person looking to lose or maintain weight while indulging in a delicious treat. Low sugar, low calorie, high protein, high fiber Built Bars. The Cherry Barcia bar has 17 grams of protein with 130 calories and just 4 grams of sugar and 4 grams of net carbs. So go to BuiltBar.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off your next order. The promo code is LOCKED15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Football might be over, as is college basketball, but the NBA, we're still going. The NHL, we're still going there as well. And BetOnline even covers awards, TV shows, and reality TV. Real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds, and it's the best way to place your bets, and it is free to sign up. Head to the website, betonline.ag, or use your mobile device to sign up today with our promo code LOCKEDON and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline are your online sportsbook experts. All right, let's go on to the next game. What the bloody hell's going on? The Utah Jazz 106, the Thunder 96, but we have to do it. Lu Dort.
No, my son is also named Bort.
Okay. This is wild, really. 37 minutes for Lu Dort, 42 points. 42 points for Lu Dort. He's averaging 12 points a game. 7 triples, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals. A usage of 41%. 52 from the field. Unfortunately, 43 from the line. He hit 64% of his 11 three-point attempts. What? He is the 222nd ranked player this season, not because of lack of minutes, but because he's not a good fantasy contributor. And then he comes out and dropped this. And now everybody is going to rush to grab him, and this is in no way remotely close to sustainable at all. It's not even close. I think adding him here it's chasing. It's never going to happen again. We've seen him be bad literally all season. And for as much shit as Darius Baisley gets, he's ranked higher than Dort is this year. And look, let's separate a couple of things. This is awesome. Like, it's so fun as a Thunder fan, and it's awesome for Lu Dort, and I think he's great. I think it's fantastic. But if we then cut that off and then look at it from a fantasy perspective, we've got to go, this is bullshit. Like, there's no way that he's not all of a sudden this player. Okay, maybe he is. He's not. Maybe he is. Maybe he is all of a sudden become good, but he hasn't been good at all. And I don't think that this is like the thing that triggers it. I just don't think it's happening. The C part of Moses Brown, 26 minutes, 12 and 15, 2 steals and a block. Oh, this guy's up and down like a yo-yo. What do we do with him? You can have him still, for sure, if you're looking for big man numbers, but 26 minutes is not super encouraging. And then we've got Isaiah Roby back, who played 24 minutes, played the first 12 straight of this game, Roby, and then 12 minutes for the rest of the game. 5 and 9 with a steal, and then Tony Bradley played 11 minutes. Well, it's safe to say we can drop Tony Bradley. If he's only going to play these bullshit minutes here, then he can go, and Pokusevski's not even here. I think it's just going to be a mess. I think in the end, Brown, Roby, Bradley, none of them will be 12-team. Pokusevski, Bazley, I don't think any of them are going to be solid 12-team league players. Now, as for Bazley, after that one game, where I have never seen as many Dutch rudders in my life after that game, after everyone shit on Bazley all year, and then he comes out and bees Darius Bazley. 7 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 33% from the field, and missed both his free throws. Now that is the Darius Bazley that we've known and love all season. I didn't think you'd want to rush to add him after that first game because it was impossible to continue. I think he's more of a streamer. He's like a 14 to 16 team league guy. And I think Pokusevski's a better long-term option for them. And we still don't know how it's going to work with Roby, Brown, Pokusevski, Bazley, how they all going to work together. The Oklahoma City Mudflap, Kenrich Williams came off the bench. He had 6 points. Jalen Horde played 11 minutes. Fee played 22 minutes. And again, we've still got to work out how Pokusevski fits in, how Shea fits in, and Gabriel Deck, where are they going to fit in? There is an absolute mess on this roster in terms of figuring out minutes and where everyone sits. Ty Jerome played only 19 minutes. He had 14 points with 4 threes. Teo Maladon had 5 points on 17% shooting. Teo can be a 12-team league guy, but he's far from a must roster. He just shits on your field goal percentage so often, and there's going to be more squeezes coming in here. It is going to be an absolute mess from a fantasy perspective for this team for the rest of the season, I think. This is going to be ups and downs all over the place. For the Jazz, would have liked them to win this one by a little bit more, but...
Rudy Gobert.
Gobert didn't block a shot yesterday, had 7 today, 13 and 14, while Conley returned for 15, 2 and 14 with 2 steals. Big games there. And the minivan, George Niang, he gets the start with Royce O'Neal and Joe Ingles out, has 18 and 10 with 6 triples in 34 minutes. Niang's a very, very solid player. But of course, this is just a product of rest. Bogdan Bogdanovic playing better at the moment. I don't mind adding him while he's on a hot streak. 23 points with a 3 and 7 boards, while Don Mitchell was pretty inefficient overall. Just 44 from the field and 67 from the line. But 22, 4 and 3 gets it done. Not much else to talk about. It wasn't Mia One who stepped up. It was Jarrell Brantley who played the 22 bench minutes. Matt Thomas played 15 bench minutes. But overall, that bench unit was pretty rough outside of the 10 points from Jarrell Brantley. And part of the reason why the Jazz only got the 10-point victory despite having some really good performances from their starters. All right, let's go on to the next game now. The Miami Heat, they go down to the Phoenix Suns pretty comprehensively in the end. 106-86, Phoenix gets the victory. Let's start with Miami. I guess the thing we've got to watch here is Jimmy Butler did hurt his ankle in this game. Played through it, but we've got to watch out. They've got a lot of games coming up. 18, 4 and 8 with 2 steals and 2 threes. Didn't shoot particularly well. Hopefully he's all right. Bam Adebayo, 11, 10 and 5 with 3 steals and a block. Good to see the free throws come back up there. Well, Trevor Ariza, they're okay numbers for deeper leagues. 10 points in 26 minutes, but 2 threes, 2 steals and a block. Now, he's not a 12-team league guy by any stretch. He's maybe a 14-team league player. Dunky Robinson had 4 threes and 15 points. That's fine. While Kendrick Nunn, really extreme foul trouble for Nunn. He is a 12-team league guy while Oladipo is out 8, 4 and 4. Hero had 10 points, struggled a bit. And Dragic had 12, 6 and 4 in his 28 minutes on 27% shooting. I do not believe that Dragic is a must-roster 12-team league guy. I think Hero probably is a 12-team league player. For the Suns, DeAndre Ayton was awesome. He only played 27 minutes, had 19 and 13 with 2 steals and a block, 80% from the field. Just unbelievable stuff from Ayton. Really, really strong performance after so many struggles this year. Well, how about my mate Cam Payne? 22 minutes for Payne, 14, 6 and 7. That's a huge line. Now, of course, that doesn't really mean anything in the context of fantasy. He's just a name that if he does have to start, if Paul gets hurt or rest, I would stream him in. As for Paul, only 26 minutes needed, 5 points, 9 assists, and 3 steals, while Devin Booker only played 23 minutes, had 12 points on 25% shooting. Pretty rough stuff there overall from Booker, but again, this game was a blowout. And who is shocked? Who's shocked about Jay Crowder?
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
What was he last game? 8 of 9 in the first half. From 3, he ended up with 5 points on 25% shooting. The wildest swings. He is, he's all over the shop. Him and Gary Trent are battling to see who can be the most Gattuso out of anybody. So Crowder had 5 points. Again, he's just a streamer that you cannot rely on at all. And McCall Bridges, what a shit game this was. 20 minutes, 0 points, 1 rebound. That's it. There are his stats. He missed all 3 of his shots. He is still a must-roster player, but this is pretty hard to stomach. It's frustrating. You try to reduce or rein in the urge to just drop him because you're pissed. It's not a great game for sure. It was pretty good from Cam Johnson, who got 30 minutes in the blowout, 15 points, 3 threes. He's playing better at the moment, Johnson. He's probably still more 14 than 12 team, but adding a nice ability to be a threes and points streamer at this stage. And it's good to see after the struggles that he had with COVID to come back and playing at a higher level than he was even before he had COVID, to be honest. All right, so on to the last game of the night, which was a lot closer than that last one. 116 Boston, 115 Portland. It looked like Boston had this one pretty comfortably, and of course some witchcraft that Damian Lillard and Portland tend to do, got them back into the game. Jason Tatum, really good shooting night. 32, 9, and 5, 4 triples, 59 from the field, 80 from the line. He's been so good lately, top 10 over the last 2 weeks. Kemba had 21, 8, and 7, really good from him. While Marcus Smart struggled a little bit early this season, but figuring out how to play next to Kemba Walker as well. 13, 4, and 7, 2 steals and a block is obviously excellent. And Jaylen Brown, a little bit inefficient from Jaylen.
JB, you've done it again.
But 24, 4, and 2 is strong with 3-3. So good games from all of those guys. The Rock DJ played 26 minutes, Robbie Williams, 16, 7, and 4. That's still really good and must roster. Didn't block a shot. But the ceiling is capped a bit by Tristan Thompson, who played 22 minutes and had 5, 8, and 3. And then their bench, after those guys, pretty rough. 17 minutes and 3 points for Grant Williams. 0 points in 9 minutes for Romeo Langford. 2 points in 12 minutes for Peyton Pritchard. For the Blazers, Lillard's still not at his best. Yeah, only 83% from the line, which we know he's a 92% guy. 39% overall, not great. 28, 5, and 10 is okay. Look, he's still not there. But this was great, especially down the stretch. And Yusuf Nurkic, still not there either. But 26 minutes, 8, 9, and 7, 3 steals and a block. He played 26 minutes. The per minute production is excellent. He was a plus 19 and Kanter was a minus 18. He's going to keep pushing and pushing. And when he gets 30 minutes, he's going to be a top 70 guy, maybe top 50, maybe even higher. This is why I was so high on Nurkic, because I know what he can do. He can score, he can rebound, he can pass, he can get steals, he can get blocks, and he can be efficient. The problem is he just was out of shape and didn't play the minutes that I expected, and the usage was way down. Now, I still think he should get more touches. 14% usage when Lillard and McCollum are out there missing a ton of shots. CJ was at 32% in this game. Nurkic needs the ball more than that, but I'm happy with that line. Carmelo Anthony, who'd been, look, honestly, really bad recently, came out and was on fire offensively. Now, he was still a minus 7, which is bad in a game that you lose by 1, and in a game where you score 25 of your own points. And he didn't do much else. 3 threes, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block, but 67% shooting, and he was great to get them back into the game. He's no more than a point streamer, that's it. Stormer Norman Powell with that big long-range bomb at the end, 20 points, 4 threes, just solid stuff. While McCollum, not the best night, 16, 7, and 5, but 32% shooting's rough. Didn't get to the line at all. And Covington only the 9 points. He saw his minutes cut at the end as Mallow was replacing him to get that offensive boost in there. 3 blocks still for Bob Cove is pretty strong. While Kanter, I do not believe Kanter's a 12-team league guy.
Get that garbage out of here!
Like 9 and 10 is fine, but his minutes are going to continue to go down as Nurkic's go up. He played 21 minutes. He was a minus 18. Defensively, he was rough. I just don't see the point in holding in all circumstances when he is just going to be getting backup minutes. He'll have the occasional start where he puts up big numbers, and then that's about it. Let's go and take a look at the top ads over the last 24 hours. Kendrick Nunn up 31%. Didn't really work out well today, but doesn't matter. That's a great ad. Darius Bazley up 21%. I don't think that'll last. I think you'll see him on the drops tomorrow. Reggie Jackson up 16%. Great value now. The Clippers don't have the best fantasy playoff schedule. That's true, but again, if you're looking for production now, I don't think you're adding him for the grand final matchup. Like, then you can move on. But for now, he's got that value. Horton Tucker up 14%. I don't believe in him as a 12-team league guy. And Batum up 13%. Sure, but again, like Jackson, the long-term value is not necessarily there, and it's really coming at the moment with Kawhi out. And there's going to be rest for Kawhi. There's going to be rests for Paul George for sure. In terms of drops, Wiseman down 11%, easy drop. Hamidou Diallo down 11%, easy drop. Jamal Murray down 10%, unfortunately, an easy drop. Pokusevski down 9%, probably is a drop as well. It's just going to be so crowded in that front court. And then James Johnson down 8%. I don't think he remains a must-roster 12-team league guy. Let's look at the top 10 players rostered in under 50% of leagues. Lu Dort at number 1. Now, I think maybe earlier I was being a bit harsh on Dort. If you want to take that flight, look, his usage is up at the moment. It is up, and that's because of Shea being out. I don't believe in 41% usage. I don't believe in 70% three-point shooting. He can be a back-end 12-team league guy, but is in no way trustworthy. And again, he still is just that top 200 player over the course of the year, despite having that starting role all season. He has improved some of his shooting numbers. They're still not particularly great, but that has improved over the last couple of weeks since he's returned from concussion. I still think he's more 14-team leaguer. If you take him in a 12 and take that flyer, it's understandable based on that last game, but I'm not convinced that he's just going to be this must-roster guy. Shamet was pretty good today, but he's just a streamer. Caleb Martin, just watch to see what happens with Rozier, and maybe you can stream him in one more game. Campaign in a really wonky game was good. Vanderbilt, again, a wonky game with Towns out. Melo, good scoring, but outside the top 300 over the last 2 weeks. George Niang took advantage of the Utah Jazz rest. Just keep an eye on him if there are other rests and he gets to start. Caruso was pretty good, but nothing really to get too worked up about or too excited about there. And I've got the name Brown there, and now I've just completely forgot who that Brown is. Who can guess who the Brown is before I do? It's Bruce Brown. There you go, the Shark. Yeah, Bruce Brown. Interesting value for him with the defensive stats and the field goal percentage. And then Ed Davis. I couldn't be less interested in Ed Davis as a fantasy player. Let's move on now to a very, very busy Wednesday in the NBA. All right, we've got 12 games on Wednesday. One of them, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, has been moved earlier, so it may not be included in FanDuel slates or DraftKings slates or whatever, so just be aware of that. But that is a game that is on, and it is being moved earlier. The thing we've got to watch for there is Yanni is listed as questionable. Karl Anthony Towns missed today's game. Personal. It was the anniversary of his mother's death. It makes complete sense. We don't know whether D'Angelo Russell will play either. It is a back-to-back, so he might not be ready to go. So there are some interesting things there for Minnesota in terms of their rotations. First game of the night is the Nets and the Sixers, and there's a lot up in the air here. It is a back-to-back. Durant and Griffin, will they play? I would assume they don't. LaMarcus Aldridge and Kyrie Irving both missed Tuesday's game. Will they be ready to go? So we could be without Durant, Aldridge, Griffin, Irving, and Harden for Brooklyn. Philadelphia, they're fine. Injury-wise, nothing really to see there with those guys. Cleveland and Charlotte. Cleveland's going to welcome back Jarrett Allen and Larry Nance, but both Colin Sexton and Darius Garland are both listed as questionable. While for Charlotte, Terry Rozier did not play today. His status remains unknown for this game. There'll be no Ball, Hayward, or Monk. And then PJ Washington Jr. also missed on Tuesday, so we don't know whether he's going to play. They started Bismack Biyombo in place of Washington, and Caleb Martin started in place of Rozier on Tuesday. The Spurs and the Raptors back-to-back here for Toronto. Kyle Lowry rested on Tuesday, so he should be back, but we don't know about DeAndre Bembry. We don't know if they'll... actually, I think they will make the switch and start Birch over Boucher, but I don't know that for sure. That's something to watch. And then what do they... I imagine Flynn goes to the bench with Lowry coming in, and then we'll have to check on the status of Bembry. The Clippers and the Pistons are back-to-back for the Clippers. No Kawhi Leonard for them on Tuesday. Could he return? Could they rest Paul George? I think that's a possibility, a distinct possibility in this one. Still no Patrick Beverley for them, of course. While for the Pistons, Dennis Smith is out. So what sort of bullshit are they going to pull? Corey Joseph going to start again? Almost definitely. Jeremy Grant's going to return to action after missing the last couple with a knee problem. The Knicks and the Pelicans. The Pelicans, Lonzo Ball is doubtful and James Johnson is questionable. The Pelicans are 3-point favorites here and the total is 220. So we'll get Bledsoe starting, but will it be next to Najee Marshall? Will it be next to Weza Wundu? Will it be next to some other scrub that they pick up off the street? Anything to avoid starting Kyra Lewis, I guess. We'll see how they run things there. While for the Magic, they're taking on the Bulls. Chuma Okeke is questionable, as is Mo Bamba. If Bumba is out, their center options are pretty limited. It'll be Wendell, who'll play a lot of minutes, and then Robert Franks played minutes at center last time. Maybe it'll be him. And if Akiki's out, you get more Ennis, more Harris, more Ross, because Otto Porter's out, so he can't play that 4 role in this one either. For the Bulls, Garrett Temple's been upgraded to probable. How he fits in, what it means for Patrick Williams and Troy Brown, is up in the air. The Warriors and the Thunder. No Wiseman, of course, for the Warriors. Oubre's doubtful with that wrist injury, so Bazemore will get another start. Looney will get another start. Now, Looney played over 30 minutes last game. Let's see if he can keep that up. While this is a back-to-back for the Thunder, Isaiah Roby returned and started. Seemed to really kill the value of Tony Bradley. What does that mean? So we want to watch how that all looks. I doubt that Shea's going to be back in this one. While the Warriors are 10-point favorites and the total is 224.5. The Pacers and the Rockets. Miles Turner could return for this game. Doug McDermott hurt his ankle, so we need to check on his status. He did not return to Tuesday's game. While for the Rockets, Sterling Brown remains sidelined, as is Daniel House Jr. The Wizards, the Mavericks and the Grizzlies. The Mavericks are 2-point favorites. The total is 226. Porzingis will return after resting in the last game, while Memphis has no Justice Winslow or no DeAnthony Melton yet again. The Wizards and the Kings, Daniel Gafford is good to go. Bradley Beal is good to go. Will they start Gafford? Almost assuredly not. But we need to watch in Sacramento because Rashawn Holmes is doubtful and Buddy Hield is questionable. Do they start Damian Jones? Do they start Hassan Whiteside? Do they play Chimezie Metu? Do they even play Hassan Whiteside? And then if Hield is out, Mo Harkless gets that really big bump. Terrence Davis, Delon Wright also get that bump. And the last game is the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets are 4-point favorites. The total is 213. It is a back-to-back for Miami. They won't have Oladipo, so it'll be none starting again. There is a chance they rest Goran Dragic as well in this one. Well, for the Nuggets, of course, the terrible news about Jamal Murray and his ACL. We are going to have Facu Campazzo and Monty Morris fighting for that spot. I would assume Facu gets it initially. I think Morris can get it later on, but that's the question mark there, is how that rotation looks and what Dr. Michael Malone decides to do with the starting point guard position. In terms of overall value for the slate, I like minimum salary Kevon Looney. I don't mind the C part of Moses Brown. I like Bazemore, Zubats, Wood, Claxton, Daniel Tice, Wendell Carter. Ben Simmons is down at 7,000. That's marginally interesting. I like the thick Hogsman, Tobias Harris, Dan Gafford, Teo Maladon. Yanni, probably not. Rozier, probably not. Lowry, I do like. I like Valanciunas. I like De'Aaron Fox. I like Domantas Sabonis as well. And maybe a flyer on Kem Birch. Guys, that'll do it for me today. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on Odyssey. And on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, ring my ding-a-ling-a-bell, leave a comment, give a thumbs up. 1 thumb, 2 thumbs, give them all up. I'll take as many thumbs up me as I can. So go and give me those over on YouTube, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.